Imagine the terror of plummeting from the sky, still strapped to your airplane seat, as thunder roars and the world spins out of control. This is not a nightmare. This is the beginning of Julian Koch's incredible survival story. In a matter of seconds, her life changed forever. The darkness, the chaos, and the deafening sounds of a plane breaking apart set the stage for a journey that would test the limits of human endurance. As the plane fell, so did Julian's sense of safety, replaced by a fight for survival in one of the world's deadliest jungles. It was December 24th, 1971. 17-year-old Julian Koch and her mother were simply trying to get home for Christmas after visiting family. The flight seemed routine at first. Passengers settled in, flight attendants moved through the aisles, and the hum of the engines was comforting. No one could have predicted the disaster that was about to unfold. For Julian, this was supposed to be a joyful journey, but fate had other plans, setting her on a path that would become one of history's most remarkable survival tales. As the plane soared over Peru, the weather began to change. Dark storm clouds gathered and lightning flashed outside the windows. The once calm cabin grew tense as turbulence rocked the aircraft. Passengers exchanged worried glances, and the crew tried to maintain order. The sense of unease grew with every jolt and rumble. The Amazon rainforest below was hidden by thick clouds, and the threat of the unknown loomed ever closer. For Julian, the ordinary flight was quickly turning into a nightmare. Suddenly, disaster struck. The plane was violently shaken by turbulence, and passengers screamed as luggage flew through the cabin. In a split second, a bolt of lightning hit the aircraft, tearing it apart in midair. The sound of metal ripping and the chaos inside the cabin were overwhelming. Julian, still strapped to her seat, was thrown into the unknown. In that moment, survival instincts took over, but nothing could prepare her for what came next. Thousands of feet above the Amazon rainforest, Julian was still strapped to her seat as she fell. The sensation was surreal, falling through clouds, then through the dense canopy of trees, and finally toward the unforgiving jungle floor. The world became a blur of green and noise. The impact was brutal, but somehow, Julian survived. Her journey was only beginning, and the true test of her resilience was yet to come. When Julian regained consciousness, she was lying on the jungle floor. The world was silent except for the distant sounds of the rainforest. Her glasses were gone, her body was covered in cuts, and her shoulder was injured. She was completely alone. The realization set in, she had survived the crash, but now faced the vast, dangerous wilderness with no one to help her. Every breath was a reminder of the miracle and the challenge ahead. The Amazon rainforest is not a place where people simply walk out. It's a world filled with hidden dangers, venomous snakes, biting insects, and unpredictable weather. The dense foliage makes navigation nearly impossible, and the constant threat of predators lurks behind every tree. For Julian, every step was a risk, but she knew she had to keep moving if she wanted to survive. The jungle was both her enemy and her only hope. Despite her injuries and fear, Julian began searching for help. She remembered her father's advice: follow water as it often leads to civilization. With determination, she started moving through the dense undergrowth, listening for the sound of running water. The jungle was unforgiving, but Julian's will to survive pushed her forward. Every rustle and shadow was a reminder of the dangers she faced, but hope kept her going. Julian's body was battered from the crash. Her shoulder throbbed with pain, and her wounds risked infection in the humid jungle. Without her glasses, her vision was blurred, making every step more dangerous. Yet she pressed on, using her instincts and whatever strength she could muster. The physical pain was intense, but her determination was even stronger. Survival meant enduring, no matter how difficult each moment became. The Amazon was alive with hazards. Poisonous plants, swarms of insects, and the constant threat of predators made every hour a challenge. Julian had to be careful with every step, avoiding snakes and dangerous creatures. The sounds of the jungle were both a warning and a comfort, proof that life continued, even in the harshest conditions. Julian's knowledge of nature, learned from her scientist parents, became her greatest asset. Water was essential for survival. Julian followed small streams, knowing they could lead her to help. Drinking from the clear water, she tried to stay hydrated despite her injuries. The jungle's humidity was relentless, and dehydration was a constant risk. Each sip gave her the strength to continue, and the sound of running water became her guide through the endless green maze. Food was scarce. Julian had to rely on her knowledge of edible plants and fruits, avoiding anything that looked suspicious or dangerous. Hunger gnawed at her, but she was careful not to eat anything that could make her sick. The jungle provided little comfort, but every small victory, finding a safe fruit or a drinkable stream, was a step closer to survival. Insects were a constant torment. Mosquitoes and other biting bugs swarmed Julian, leaving painful welts and increasing the risk of infection. She used mud and leaves to protect her skin as best she could. The relentless buzzing and biting were a reminder that the jungle was not a place for the weak. Every night brought new challenges, but Julian's resilience never wavered. As days passed, loneliness became Julian's greatest enemy. The silence of the jungle was overwhelming, broken only by animal calls and the rustling of leaves. She called out for help, hoping someone would hear her, but there was no answer. The isolation tested her spirit, but she refused to give up. Memories of her family and the hope of rescue kept her moving forward. Julian remembered her father's advice: follow the water. She walked along the stream, hoping it would lead her to civilization. The journey was slow and exhausting, but the stream provided direction and hope. Each bend in the water brought new challenges, but also the possibility of rescue. The jungle seemed endless, but Julian's determination was stronger than her fear. After days of wandering, Julian began to notice signs of human presence: footprints, a small shelter, and even discarded items. Her heart raced with hope. She followed these clues, believing she was getting closer to help. The jungle's grip seemed to loosen as civilization drew near. Every sign was a lifeline, pulling her out of despair and toward salvation. Finally, Julian encountered local loggers deep in the jungle. At first, they were shocked to see her, injured, exhausted, and alone. But their surprise quickly turned to compassion. They gave her food, water, and first aid, and then arranged for her rescue. After days of unimaginable hardship, Julian was finally safe. Her ordeal in the wilderness had come to an end. Julian's rescue was a miracle. She was reunited with her father, who had feared the worst. The relief and joy were overwhelming. News of her survival spread quickly, and her story became a symbol of hope and resilience. Julian's courage inspired people around the world, proving that even in the darkest moments, the human spirit can endure. The aftermath of Julian's ordeal was both emotional and physical. She had lost her mother in the crash, and the trauma of her experience would stay with her forever. But Julian's survival was a testament to her strength and resourcefulness. She went on to share her story, helping others understand the power of hope and determination in the face of overwhelming odds. Julian Koch's survival story has become legendary. Her experience in the Amazon jungle is studied by survival experts and has inspired countless books and documentaries. Julian herself became a biologist, dedicating her life to understanding and protecting the natural world that both threatened and saved her. Her legacy is one of courage, resilience, and respect for nature. Julian's story teaches us about the power of hope, the importance of knowledge, and the strength of the human spirit. In the face of unimaginable odds, she never gave up. Her journey through the jungle is a reminder that even in our darkest moments, there is always a way forward. The wilderness tested her, but it also revealed her true strength. Julian Koch's survival remains one of the most inspiring tales of our time.